Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
Good afternoon and welcome to Consulting to Win, the show that wants to work with you and coach you to win in the game of business. This is Leanne Farmer from Possibilities Unlimited, and I'm here today with my wonderful colleague, Mary Mullenhoff. How are you today, Mary?
I'm doing great. How are you, Leanne?
Oh, I'm real good, thanks. In case you're wondering, Ralph White is on vacation. So Mary and I have stepped in to host the show today, and we will do our best to fill those shoes. And you all out there can help us out by calling in with your questions during the show. The phone number here at healthylife.net is 800-555-5453. And you will want to call in today because we are going to be talking about something that impacts every kind of business. Every business owner, every salesperson, everyone who wants to win in the game of business. And what we're going to be talking about is customer relationship management, or as we lovingly call it, CRM. Because business is all about relationships, and if you want to be successful, you need to know how to manage those relationships. So we have a great guest today that's going to help us out with this topic, and his name is Gary Lemke. He is an expert in CRM, and he is the founder and publisher of CRM Advocate, which is a wonderful daily online resource for all things about customer relationship management. Gary has a background in market research and development. He writes and speaks extensively about this topic, and he's highly regarded in the industry, having been named one of the top 25 CRM professionals by IT Support News magazine. So it is my great pleasure to welcome Gary Lemke to the program. Gary, how are you today?
Hey, I'm doing great, Leanne. Thank you.
Good to hear it. So, Gary, we want to kind of start at the beginning for our listeners that aren't familiar with CRM. Can you break it down kind of to the basic level for us? How do you define CRM?
It's a really interesting term. It's one that is about 10 to 15 years old, and it came out of actually the industry analyst community when they wanted to describe an emerging set of software technologies that were coming. And the funny thing about CRM is that if you ask 100 people what CRM means to them, you'll get about 100 different answers. So unfortunately, it's a term we all use, but it all seems to have a different definition to each person. But the way I like to describe it to people is really three. There's kind of like three legs to a stool, if you will. The first leg being business development, marketing automation, marketing campaigns, and that sort of thing. So basically what you're doing to reach markets. The second leg of that stool is Salesforce automation, what you're doing to help win that business. And then the third is service and support, what you're doing post-sales to continue that relationship with the customer.
Well, great. I want to get into how companies, if they are currently aren't using any kind of a CRM system, how do they get started? I mean, how do they even know if they need CRM?
Well, first of all, let's take a step backwards because so a lot of people will say, okay, I want to get into CRM, which means, gee, should I go out and buy a piece of software and get into some sort of automation and bring in some technology and that sort of thing. And CRM is so much more than just technology. In fact, a common way to think of it is people, process, and technology. And if you were to say to someone, well, gee, where should I spend my time? You know, how much of it should be people, how much of it should be process, and how much of it should be technology? Technology really is only about 20% of the game. But to get started, the way I like to tell people to look at it is think about what you can do to improve the customer experience. That may mean technology, but it also, and probably does, mean more about people and process first.
So what does that mean in terms of a small business person who's trying to figure out where to start?
Okay. If you look at that and you start with the customer experience, basically you need to think about, well, how can I best service that customer? How can I best create that customer experience? What do I know about them? What do I have to do to retain them? There's a lot of studies out there that suggest that to find and acquire a customer may cost 3, 5, 10, maybe even in a business-to-business relationship, 15 times more than selling the same amount of product or service to someone that you have done business with already. So
wow,
in other words,
that's a big discrepancy there.
Exactly. So if you're going to work very hard and invest quite a bit to bring someone through your doors or to find and initiate business with someone, you're going to spend a lot less trying to keep them. And what that means is making sure that that customer experience is a good one and that they're willing to come back and buy from you again, to what we call increase their share of wallet, what proportion of their total spend do they spend with you. A very important part of that is referrals and references.
Right.
That can be a way to take that very expensive acquisition cost and bring that down. And it's a very credible and trustworthy way of growing your business.
Great.
Gary, I'm sorry to interrupt,
sorry.
but what was that statistic again? I think it's such a huge number. We should repeat it.
About how much you
about
have
how
to
much
invest?
it costs to acquire a brand new client.
It really depends on the type of products in the industry, but studies show that for $1 of sale, the cost of sales, or the cost to sell to an existing customer, if that were $1, and then if you look at the cost of selling to a customer that you've never done business before, they've never done business with you, it may cost 3, 5, 10, and in some cases 15 times as much to sell to that customer. So there's additional marketing cost, there's a due diligence part, but once they have a relationship with you, they don't have to go through those initial processes. You don't have to expend those initial resources. It just comes more naturally and more profitably, obviously, if you don't have that cost of sales in your repeat business.
Right. I want to remind our listeners if you have questions for Gary as we go along, the number here at healthylife.net is 800-555-5453. So Gary, what you're saying is it really speaks to the power of having a good control over all those. Every time you touch a prospect, every time you touch a repeat customer, and being able to track all of the information that comes out of just daily business.
Yes, it's knowing what their purchase history is, frequency, what their preferences are, how they like to be communicated with. It's very interesting that a lot of those things are the attributes of experiences of the corner store back in yesteryear, before we had the big box retails. The local butcher shop that came in and knew the kinds of meats that you wanted and might have had those set aside for you, and so on and so forth. And CRM technologies basically have evolved because instead of having dozens or hundreds of customers in that small mom and pop setting, they might have thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of customers, and they want to try and provide that personalized, knowledgeable customer experience. But obviously, especially in a call center situation or a high volume situation, there's no way an agent or a customer representative would know that. But technology can capture that information and allow that person to act in that way or create that sort of experience. So it's very interesting that technology is being used to try and get back to that customer experience that really provided the emotional connection. And certain industries have the opportunity to do that better than others. Hotels that have frequent visitors that when they come back and they recognize them, that it brings up the sort of preferences they have in terms of the type of room, the type of service, what should be in the room, whether they want to have a lot of contact or very little contact.
Right. You and I were talking recently about social marketing and CRM, and just how even a social marketing system like Facebook or Twitter can function as a CRM system. Can you comment some more on that?
Yeah, actually, just wrote about that recently in our daily email publication, and certainly want to invite people, if they want, to sign up for. It's a free publication at crmadvocate.com. And I didn't want that to sound like a commercial or anything. But
yeah, I was going to plug it in the next segment, but you got ahead of me there. That's okay.
That's okay. But there was a recent one on kind of social CRM, as we like to call it, using these social networks like Twitter and Facebook. But there's one recently in the archives from October 23rd called Social CRM in a Crisis. And it really talked, and it's very good because it talks about three entrepreneurs, smaller businesses, that have recently had occasion to use Twitter in this example when they face crisis. One had a website that went down. They do most of their business via the website, so that was akin to not being able to open up the store. Another one had delivery problems because of a local storm, and a third one basically had their website hijacked, hacked into.
Wow.
And in all cases, Twitter provided a way to reach people, to give them an update on what was going on, statuses. So basically, it was a very proactive way to, and a different channel, if you will, a different way to reach that. The real key to that, and it's really backed up by a reference to a Wall Street Journal article on these three case studies here. So it's very good reading, besides just kind of the highlight that we've done. But the real key here is that the use of Twitter in those three examples didn't happen because they had the crisis and then they said, well, gee, maybe we should try Twitter. It's because they already had established relationships with their customer base via Twitter. So if, it was the sort of thing they could not think to start or be effective with this new social medium if they had not already embraced it. So, I think that is the message in all this, is that, you can start out with it you got to deliver something credible and something worthwhile and meaningful to people in terms of information, offers, services, whatever it may be. But then you've got it in your back pocket should a crisis occur.
Right. And I think for maybe some of our listeners, that also provides kind of it can be intimidating looking at all the options that are out there. What kind of system do I need? Where do I start? And to think that even if you just have a consistent Facebook, Twitter presence, you're actually already involved in CRM that way.
Exactly. And that's why we have so many different definitions of customer relationship management, because really any tool, any piece of technology that can improve that customer experience can really fit under that CRM umbrella there. So I always try and tell people, yes, the technology can make it so much better, but rather than looking at CRM as a solution, looking for a problem, look at what your problems are, and then the technology can be used to help you solve that.
So I have a question for you, Gary. So
Sure.
You're talking about the technology piece only being 20% of it and the people and the process being the rest, I guess the other 80%. So as business owners, how do they go through this process of figuring out, what's the right solution for all of those components? You know what I'm saying? So in other words, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that is the key. That's if you will, the secret sauce. And unfortunately, I have had so many requests for gee, Gary, why don't you come in and speak to this group of business leaders and give us 5 great examples of how they can improve their customer experience. And in most cases, I have to decline because, what might be a good solution for one business doesn't necessarily translate to another. In other words, it's going to be unique for each situation, for each business, if you will. I mean, there certainly are some best practices out there, but it really comes to first, understanding and defining what is that customer experience for that particular business. Number one, okay, what do we define that to be? Number 2 is what is keeping us from making that as good as possible, or the best customer experience that it can be. Another part of that is recognizing that not every customer wants the same experience. So how can we use technology to provide an experience that looks one way to one customer and one way to another? There are some, general tips in here. And one I will tell you is that meeting someone's expectations as a customer doesn't mean doing the same thing every time. Personal relation is a big role in this. And a lot of that is because not everyone has the same expectations. And so, it's recognizing that the amount of service that you have to provide someone may be different. And I'll throw out some new numbers here as well, because this is where I really like to suggest people not try and do the same thing for every customer, but break their customer base into 4 groups: 80, 15, 4, and 1. 80 meaning the bottom 80% of your customers, 15 meaning the important 15%, 4% meaning the very important, and 1 being the extremely important customers. There are so many businesses out there, if they break it down into that 80-20, but then take that 20% and even break it down into 15, 4, and 1, will find that 20% of their customers generate 80% or more of their profit. In other words, there are so many businesses out there where maybe 4 out of 5 customers are actually unprofitable. And, also using technology to recognize, we really, for that 1%, we will move heaven and earth. We will do whatever we have to do to keep them in the fold, because they are, they only may represent 1% of the people that walk through our door or call our offices or go on our website or whatever it might be, but they represent a much bigger portion of our revenue and, more importantly, our profitability.
Right. So they get the deluxe fruit basket at Christmas.
Exactly.
And what I'm hearing you say is that you can tailor your CRM system to really differentiate between profit centers and allow you to customize how you're treating that customer base and those very, very important customers at the top.
Yes, businesses of all size, regardless of size, small or Fortune 50, no one has unlimited resources. So it really talks to, okay, if I don't have unlimited resources, but I have unlimited requests for those resources, how do I decide to measure those out in a way that is going to maximize my profits? So that is a way to tailor and segment. And it really gets to creating loyalty within that 1%. Obviously you want to make sure that you probably already have a good share of wallet there, but to the extent that they're very important to you, they could be very attractive to your competitor in terms of being wooed away. So it's the sort of thing you have to prove your worth each and every time. And there are studies that show that you can mess up, and in fact, oftentimes it's not whether or not you mess up; it's how you react to fixing the situation for that customer when things don't go as planned.
Exactly. And another thing I just wanted to point out, what we find a lot in our business is that quite often business owners haven't even gone through the exercise of identifying. They probably know who their maybe top couple customers are, but going through that process of really identifying where their bread is buttered. is something that's always worthwhile for them to do, and we coach them on that. We are going to coming up on a break here, but I want to remind our listeners that you can call us at 800-555-5453. We're going to give Gary a chance to plug his newsletter again in the next segment and tell us a little bit more about CRM. And we'll be right back with you after this break.
Do you own your own business? What would happen if your computer system crashed? Would you be able to recover in a reasonable amount of time? Left Brain Tech's computer services caters to business owners who want reliable computer systems that work and are backed up in case of emergency. For your entire computer needs, call 888-239-2216 or visit leftbraintechs.com. IT solutions done right with Left Brain Techs. That's 888-239-2216 or leftbraintechs.com.
Bring your company's website's visual presence to a new level with customized, cutting-edge site solutions. LandauDesign.com can maximize the productivity of your website. They'll analyze everything you have and then creatively design a customized plan for your website that includes search engine optimization, online marketing, easy content management, and measurable results. LandauDesign.com can boost your web presence so that you can draw more customers to your site and keep their attention, so they stay on your site longer. For more information, call 310-374-0670. That's 310-374-0670, or visit online at LandauDesign.com.
If you're like the 8 out of 10 women that say finding jeans that fit is a problem, well, your problem is solved. Lee Jeans has done extensive research, and they have jeans that fit. There's even an online Lee Fit Finder so you can find the right fit for you. Imagine jeans that instantly slim you with a custom fit and no gap waistband. And guys, kids, Lee has jeans for you too. Click through to Lee's Jeans on the HealthyLife.net advertiser page and get what fits.
Put a little light in your life and keep it shining with Intellectric.net, a full-service lighting design company. If you need a top electrical contracting firm to deal with all facets of electrical, from concept to completion, including repair, call Intellectric.net at 310-838-5486. They can use green technology. They are home automation specialists, and they are high-end residential specialists. With prompt and efficient service, Intellectric.net has over 10 trucks, 28 employees, and on-call electricians available to handle your needs. Educated in state-of-the-art techniques and technology for all your electrical needs. Call dependable, innovative Intellectric.net today at 310-838-5486. Keep your light shining. Call 310-838-5486 or visit online at Intellectric.net.
HealthyLife.net for healthy side effects.
We're back on Consulting to Win, the show that coaches you to win in the game of business. And I'm Leanne Farmer. I'm here with Mary Mullenhoff and Gary Lemke from CRM Advocate. We're talking about customer relationship management today, and Gary is an expert in that area. So, Gary, I did want to give you, I promised you a chance to plug your newsletter. So if people want to subscribe to CRM Advocate, how do they do that?
Well, of course, they have to be in front of a computer and have a browser, and our website is www.crmadvocate, that's all one word, no hyphen or anything in there, .com. And they're free to subscribe, and we do a quick daily update on what's going on in the world of customer relationship management. Have a short little column and then talk about the news of the day. So we do cover quite a bit in terms of new technologies and what companies are doing with technologies as it relates to marketing, sales, service, and support of their customers. We also do aggregate other columns from other online publications as well, so kind of a one-stop shop for a lot more on the people and the process side. So we try and keep that balance, as we said, in the last segment between the people, the process, and the technology of customer relationship management. It certainly is a very overwhelming topic for a lot of people, so that's why we try and keep it short, do a little bit each day, and as the weeks and the months go by, it becomes a little bit more clear in terms of how to apply that knowledge to what your business might be.
So, Gary, I wanted to just let you know a little bit about my background was in sales and marketing, and I worked for large accounting firms and a bunch of different firms. And from the sales standpoint, CRM was one of these bittersweet things. If you were a salesperson and you had to use the, from the technology standpoint, the, input, the contacts, that was great. You loved it. It was organized. But then from the standpoint of having to put in a lot of data so that your boss could run a report about, how you're doing that week and what kind of activity there was, it was a big pain in the neck. And every salesperson would always complain about that aspect of it. So can you kind of shed some light on, from the salesperson's standpoint, on really the value of using the customer relationship management? Because the information in there is only as good as, what's put in.
Exactly. Mary, the situation that you have described is what I would call ground zero for the conflict of CRM technologies in organizations that are using it with their sales forces, with Salesforce automation. The typical scenario is this. You have a VP of sales or someone in charge of meeting an overall corporate or company sales objective. CEO may be very involved in that as well. And then, of course, a federation of either in-house telesales people, people that are carrying a briefcase and calling, or obviously having contacts and sales calls and that sort of thing. And from the top down, the VP or CEO says, hey, I want visibility into what's going on. These are probably the highest paid people in our company. They do more to affect the top line, which obviously trickles down to the bottom line very, very directly. And I want to be able at any point in time to roll up what is the forecast. Are we going to meet our objectives? What's the level of activity going on? Are people making enough calls? Are we closing enough deals? Do we have enough in the funnel? So on and so on and so on. Now, that's why it gets put in from the top down, but as you said, from the bottom up, the individual sales rep goes, gee, all of a sudden, I have a whole new set of requirements of information that I've got to put into a system that's taking my time away from being in front of the customer, that quite frankly is a whole new set of requirements of which I give very, very little value. And so it basically comes down as not maybe Big Brother, because a lot of times salespeople are very independent. They have their own process. Maybe they like to keep their Rolodex aside from what the company really knows what's going on. And that creates that chasm, if you will, and certainly friction between what's happening on the front line and what's happening in the back office. There are ways around that, and there are ways to address that, and probably the most general way of addressing that situation is making sure your CRM solution doesn't just help management. What's it doing to help the frontline person? In other words, is it helping to generate quotes and configurations? Does it do anything to allow people, frontline people, to communicate electronically via email or mass marketing to their prospects or suspects? Is it doing anything that is going to make their life more productive, allow them to sell more, allow them to achieve their sales objectives easier, quicker, to handle a bigger quota, to make life better? And to the extent that it can do that, then they will embrace it. To the extent that it basically is just a burden, that is probably the biggest way things, CRM systems fail. And probably related to that is, here, use this system, and not training them on how to use it or what the benefit to them might be, down the road.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I remember there being situations where I was actually in sales management in this one company in particular, and I looked at somebody's pipeline and I'm like, really? Do you have that much in the pipeline? And they're like, well, I don't know, but you're asking me for a number and I'm giving you a number of what this potentially could be worth. But they didn't even have a proposal out there. So some of these systems are designed to make you fabricate information that's not even reality. So you could be looking at a pipeline that looks pretty juicy, but there's not a lot of concrete, you know, behind it. So
Well, that's the old saying in sales. Ask me how I measured, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do. And that's that's where organizations, and that's really the process side of CRM, is you have to be very careful about the sort of rules or incentives you put in place, because you may do it to try and incent a certain behavior, but many times it has unforeseen consequences or behaviors that you could have never seen coming. It's kind of like Congress passing laws with taxes to try and create certain behavior and not realizing, well, people are going to find a way around that, and not having unintended consequences or actions that differ from the initial intent.
Excellent. Well, believe it or not, we're almost to the end of this segment. So, Gary, I want to thank you so much. You've given us so much information today and a lot to think about. And I encourage our listeners, if you want to learn more about CRM, and if you're not doing it now, you need to be doing it. Please check out Gary's newsletter at www.crmadvocate.com. Gary, it's been great having you on the show today. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Well, thank you, Leanne. I appreciate the opportunity.
My pleasure. And I want to tell our listeners to stay tuned, because Mary and I are going to be talking about the Whole Life Matrix in our next segment, and we're going to digress into work-life balance. So stay with us.
Imagine Possibilities Unlimited. Well, they're here, and they want to help your business. Possibilities Unlimited offers the best business consulting and coaching that provides incredible results. Ralph White and his team of experts bring a variety of experience and expertise to your business. Discover how their Whole Life Matrix can positively affect your personal and business life. Focusing on key challenges, they'll devise a customized plan and give you the support you need every step of the way until you achieve your intended results. Call Possibilities Unlimited today at 310-372-8538. That's 310-372-8538. No business is too big or too small. Possibilities Unlimited can help them all. Call now at 310-372-8538 or visit consulting2win.com. That's consulting2win.com.
Do you own your own business? What would happen if your computer system crashed? Would you be able to recover in a reasonable amount of time? Left Brain Tech's computer services caters to business owners who want reliable computer systems that work and are backed up in case of emergency. For your entire computer needs, call 888-239-2216 or visit leftbraintechs.com. IT solutions done right with Left Brain Techs. That's 888-239-2216 or leftbraintechs.com.
Oh man, it never fails. My suitcase just got ripped apart.
Life is a journey. Make it a pleasant one. Use Samsonite. You know the name. For almost a century, Samsonite luggage has proved itself to be the worldwide leader in innovative travel solutions. Let it be yours. Visit HealthyLife.net's affiliate Samsonite on our homepage and click to look at the fine luggage from suitcases to golf travel bags. And don't forget, take a look at their travel accessories. Make life a journey, a pleasant one, with Samsonite.
Whether your business is in products or services, one thing you need to be successful is sales. And now you can take the mystery out of selling and discover how to consistently produce top sales results with Possibilities Unlimited 8-week Sales to Win course. The Sales to Win course can be attended by anyone from anywhere because it's given by conference call. You'll be taught by top sales and marketing experts all about the sales process, and you'll be given top techniques and tips. It's all simply broken down for you and presented in a stress-free environment. But the best thing is, it's so affordable. It's money well spent because you'll make even more money back with your increased sales. Don't wait. Enroll in the Sales to Win course for yourself and your sales staff right now. You won't want to miss this opportunity to raise your bottom line. Call 310-372-8538. That's 310-372-8538.
HealthyLife.net, the positive radio network.
We are back. This is Consulting to Win Radio, where we coach you on how to win the game of business. And in this section, by the way, I'm Leanne Farmer. I'm here with Mary Mullenhoff. We are filling in for Ralph White, who is on vacation. He'll be back next week. But we're going to take this opportunity to talk about something that's near and dear to our hearts, which is work-life balance. It's part of our whole life matrix because we believe that if you're going to have a business that is fulfilling, you need to have a life that is fulfilling, and because that's why you went into business in the first place. And so to kick it off, we want to talk about this because it's an issue that's important to everybody. And we all cope with it on a personal level, and we cope with it in our businesses. But we want to provide some support for people who are struggling to keep all the balls in the air.
Yeah, especially I think it's important because if you've got a really successful business, but the business has taken over your life and you can't go on vacation and you can't have dinner with your family once a week or twice a week or every night, you can't help your kids with their homework and you can't read them a bedtime story, then your whole life is your business. And so what good is that, that extra cash, extra money if you can't really enjoy it? So I think that...
And the extra stress.
Right. And so the concept of the whole life matrix is that let's have a balance between all of it. And you and I have had conversations about this concept of really being balanced between your work and your job. And, we've got multiple jobs as moms and as coaches for Possibilities Unlimited and other, we do charity work and volunteer with the schools and all kinds of things. And each of those really is a job that requires its own job description. And one of the, challenges is how do you keep that balance? How do you prioritize? So,
right.
What are your...
Well, I think you hit on something, Mary, when we were talking about this, is that all those things, what we talk about when we coach our business clients is that you have to schedule everything in time. Time is all you have. And I think especially, I'm going to choose mothers because that's what I can relate to. We do a lot of things that we do, the laundry and the driving and the cooking and the figuring out what's for dinner and the getting kids here and there. And we don't tend to look at those things as things that need to be scheduled into time or understand how much of our time those things take up. And then we get to that point where we're in overwhelm because we've got to do all the business stuff. That can't slip away. But if we don't figure out what's for dinner, somebody's not going to have food on the table, and then pretty soon things are getting out of control, and we're overwhelmed. So how do you deal with that?
Well, I think one of the things that I started to do is essentially, in looking at the time, is being realistic. If grocery shopping, I used to think, I'll be in the store, be out in 20 minutes. I have never been out of a grocery store in 20 minutes.
No.
I never have. It takes me an hour. So I want to be realistic and say, I'm going to go to the grocery store. It's going to take me an hour. It's going to take me 15 minutes to drive to and from the place. Then I'm going to have to unload the car and put everything away. And so if you really go through this process in your mind about everything that you've got to do, like, I'm going to write a blog. It's only going to take me an hour. Well, I've got to open up the computer, plug it in, find all my resources. We start all our blogs with a sports quote. I got to go through all the sports quotes, find my, find links to and then pretty soon it's 4 hours. So what I need to do, or what I've started to do, is be really realistic. It's not a 1 hour project. It's a 4 hour project. And if I only have an hour today, then breaking it into little pieces, like, okay, I'll put an hour in today, an hour tomorrow, an hour the next day, and that'll total the 4 hours that I need to complete the project.
Right.
And basically just that's how I try to keep the balls in the air. Otherwise, I do really try to delegate. Like I'll say to my husband, "Okay, you go do the grocery shopping because I got to get this thing finished."
I got to know, does he do a good job?
Yeah.
If you give him a list, does he get the right things?
Actually, he's very good. He's actually
Oh.
better than I am in the grocery store because if I give him a list, he comes back with
Just.
the list or something just as good, and he did it quicker because
Ah.
it was just that where I go to the store and I don't have a list. I just go and I say, I know I need groceries, I need snacks to put in my kids, lunch box at school and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
it takes a little longer.
So getting realistic with how long each of these things takes, because they take time. I think we overlook them because they're just things that have to happen on a daily basis, but they do have to get put in your calendar. I want to remind people that our number here is 800-555-5453 here at healthylife.net. We encourage you to call in with your own suggestions or challenges that you want to talk about. We're talking about work-life balance. And one of the things that I'm kicking this back to Mary again, but she was talking yesterday about kind of making a responsibility map. And I had never thought of that, but tell our listeners what your concept of a responsibility map is.
Well, it's essentially saying to yourself how many different jobs do you have, and then within each of those jobs. So as mom, what do you have to do? And then as a business coach, what do you need to do? And then as a volunteer charity worker, what do you need to do? As a school volunteer, what do you need to do? And then essentially just assign the time to it, but then understand the depth of what it takes. Yeah, every time I've been involved in a charity and I've said, oh yeah, I can help with that, I'm sure it'll be easy, it turns into this big, huge thing because I also love brainstorming. And so a thing that could have been really, really simple becomes this huge thing because I have these,
Ideas.
great ideas. So it's that whole process of just sitting down and saying, okay, you know what, this would be great, but this is really what's doable. And, I'm responsible for this. I can assign these other things to other people. And in fact, in some of the charity work that I do, we have so many people involved that what I've noticed in these larger projects, we just get so many people to help that it goes very quickly. And so I'm learning this whole concept of asking for help, outsourcing whatever you need to outsource. Like, if you can get somebody to come in and clean your house and do the laundry, then it frees you up to do other stuff that's, equally or more important to get it done.
And let's not forget the business side of this, because I think we all feel that the business side has to come. I think a lot of us feel that the business side has to come first a lot of the time, because those are the things we can't drop those out, or our boss will get upset, or the work just isn't going to get done. And we have to put our family second. And so when we're going to take a break here in a minute, but when we come back, I want to kind of get into that a little bit about how do you prioritize family and work so that nothing gets dropped out in this responsibility map and into putting things in time. So again, give us a call here at 800-555-5453. This is Consulting to Win with Mary Mullenhoff and Leanne Farmer, and we're talking about work-life balance. We'll be right back.
There are 3 wise women at Possibilities Unlimited, and if you want to improve your business's bottom line, you'll want to get to know them because they want to help you with your business, and they can. Wise web woman Bonnie Landau will help make your website the best it can be. She'll help you with all web-related things, including social media. Wise marketing woman Mary Mullenhoff wields her magic to find and obtain sales leads for you, and she'll help you identify and qualify prospects. Leanne Farmer, wise work life woman, hones your customer relations, communications, and sales skills as she teaches you how to manage your work and life in balance. There are options of coaching with one or all 3 wise women. Get to know them now. Call 310-372-8538. That's 310-372-8538, or visit consultingtowin.com. That's consulting2win.com.
What does HealthyLife.net and Amazon.com have in common? Well, they're both available on the internet. They both give great value. But most important, most of our positive program hosts and guests are accomplished authors, and their books are available from, you got it, Amazon.com. Now, it even gets better than that, because when you're listening on air to a HealthyLife.net host or guest, you can go directly to Amazon.com and you can order your book while you're still listening to your favorite HealthyLife.net program. So when you hear an author you like, go to the homepage of HealthyLife.net and click on Amazon.com.
Demystify the world of social marketing and get it to work for you. You can maximize your market potential and sales. And Bonnie Landau of Possibilities Unlimited can help. Discover how to use Twitter, LinkedIn, and more to market your business. Learn how to expand your prospect base, improve your web presence, but more importantly, get results. Your possibilities are unlimited. Social networking can impact your bottom line in a positive way. Find out how with Bonnie Landau of Possibilities Unlimited. Call today at 310-372-8538. That's 310-372-8538. Or visit consulting2win.com. Consulting number 2win.com.
Do you own your own business? What would happen if your computer system crashed? Would you be able to recover in a reasonable amount of time? Left Brain Tech's computer services caters to business owners who want reliable computer systems that work and are backed up in case of emergency. For your entire computer needs, call 888-239-2216 or visit leftbraintechs.com. IT solutions done right with Left Brain Techs. That's 888-239-2216 or leftbraintechs.com.
All positive talk with a mature edge. HealthyLife.net.
We are back on Consulting to Win. I'm Leanne Farmer here with Mary Mullenhoff. We're delving into our whole life matrix in the area of work-life balance, and we've talked about getting real about how much time things take in your calendar, not just the work time things, but the personal life things, the grocery shopping and driving and things like that. And so what we want to talk about is, how do you prioritize? How do you choose business over family, family over business? And how do you make those decisions? And I think that's where it really gets tough for people, because they want to do it all, especially capable, bright people. They want to have successful careers. They want to have successful families. But can you really do it all at once?
I don't think you need to choose between your family and your work. I mean, I think what you choose is the time that you commit to each, and then stick to it. So if you commit to, 10 hours a week in your job and 10 hours a week with your kids, then make sure you're doing something,
right?
That's going to be fulfilling for you during that time.
What I think a lot of people might say is, well, 10 hours a week for a job, you can't, support a family on 10 hours a week. But I'd really like to suggest that these days there are more and more opportunities to have a flexible work life, where you can still have a challenging, well-paid job that is more flexible around your family, especially if you're a woman. Now, I know there's a lot of men that are holding down the home front these days. I know several, as a matter of fact, whose wives work full-time and they kind of handle the home front. But it's still possible, I think, even now more than ever, to balance that and find a job that maybe it's 20 hours a week instead of 40. Maybe it pays a little less, but will still give you what you're looking for in terms of career fulfillment and allow you to better be with your family and focus on them as well.
Well, it's interesting. I have that comment you've made has made me think of a couple of things. One is, I remember when somebody first, because I've always worked pretty much in some capacity or other, either in sales and marketing and coaching and consulting and personal training, whatever. I've always had some kind of a job. And I also have 2 kids, and I never took more than a month off with each kid, because normally it would be my own business, and
Right.
If I don't work, I don't get paid.
Right.
And people ask me, oh, how could you leave your baby at home? Well, what I found was, because I was doing it part-time, and I was only leaving the baby at home for a couple of hours with a babysitter, I enjoyed our time together more afterwards, versus moms who stayed with their kid all day long, and by the end of that, especially when they're infants and you have to feed them every 2 hours for 10 hours, it's like, I'm going nuts. I'm going crazy. And they feel guilt about the fact that their kid's driving them crazy, this brand new baby they just had. And then it just grows from there, then they become a toddler and a teenager and et cetera. And so it's the same kind of issue. It's sort of like you almost need a job. And if you're, college educated and you've had a career and, you want to sharpen the saw, you don't want to lose those skills. You don't want to blow all the money you spend in college. So I'm not saying everybody should go out and get a job, but if you feel that it's something that you are lacking in your life, then you should really pursue it. And just keep in mind that there's got to be a balance, and that balance is going to be figured out one way or the other.
Yeah, you had an important word there, and that was the word guilt. I think a lot of women especially go toward guilt either way, whether they're short shrifting their family or short shrifting their career. And I think you really have to get in touch with what is going to be the right thing for you. In my life, I did choose to stay home with both kids when they were infants full time, and that was the right thing for me to do. And I've been able to find work opportunities that kept my skills sharp, but that allowed me to be home full time or work from home. And then as the kids got older, expand, kind of kept a toe in the door, and am able now to get back into the workforce. I think a lot of women are afraid that if they step out, they won't be able to get back in. And again, I encourage you, as one of the things I want to talk about is that as coaches, we help people deal with these kinds of decisions and help them really get to the heart of what questions they need to be asking themselves as they try to find this balance. Because it's different for everyone.
Oh, yeah. And, it's funny because when I did decide to go back into the area of coaching and consulting, I found, there's this wonderful LinkedIn and all these social networks out there. And I quickly reconnected with people I hadn't seen in, say, about 10 years.
Right.
And it's amazing. They're like, oh, yeah, I remember you when we were in such and such.
Yeah, there's so much more opportunity now.
Oh, my goodness. It's amazing. And I've linked up with about 90 people in a 2 to 3 month period. And to me, it's amazing. So the point there is for anybody out there who hasn't been in business for a while, who's thinking they want to get back into it, that it's a lot easier than it used to be.
Exactly.
And
there's so much more you can do from home.
Oh, exactly.
You're not tied to driving downtown as much anymore. Depending on your skill set, there's a million and one ways for you to use that skill set in a variety of ways. And at Possibilities Unlimited, we'd be delighted to help you reach those goals. And one of the other things I wanted to say, channeling Ralph, who isn't here to speak for himself, is that we tend to take on too much and say yes to too many things. And if we're going to get real about how long things take and putting them into our calendar and getting that better balance, we're going to have to say no to some things. And Ralph always says, say no for now. You don't, just because you're saying no to that volunteer job, maybe you just can't do it right now, and it's okay to say no. Believe me, there will be plenty of volunteer opportunities on down the road when you have more time for that.
Well, and also another thing that I like that Ralph says is, when you're doing your task list, there's a list of things not to do.
Right.
And
never doing.
Yeah, never going to do them.
Never going to do them.
Here's that list.
And that's okay. Yeah. I think that's his longest list, too.
It is. And what's interesting about it is there's a lot of aspects of your to-do list that should go there. And so part of this process of balancing life and work and other responsibilities is to be honest with yourself about it. What are these things are you really going to do?
And let it go.
Yeah, let it go.
Put it on the never doing now list. I'm never going to jump out of an airplane.
Or outsource it. Outsource it to somebody else.
Right.
I'm going to talk you into getting somebody to help you clean your house and do your laundry once or twice a week.
I keep I keep believing my kids are going to help pick them. Mine are old enough now, Mary. So if they are listening to this show, go clean your room. I'm not doing it anymore.
And do your laundry.
Well, that's about it for this week on Consulting to Win. We hope that you've enjoyed our show. Ralph White will be back next week. You can reach us at 310-372-8538 if you want to talk to one of us coaches. Set up a time to talk to us, or just visit our website, www.consulting2win. That's consulting, the number 2win.com. We want to help you win the game of business and the game of life. I'm Leanne Farmer.
Mary Mullenhoff, call us.
And now you are ready to win.
Bring your company's website's visual presence to a new level with customized, cutting-edge site solutions. LandauDesign.com can maximize the productivity of your website. They'll analyze everything you have and then creatively design a customized plan for your website that includes search engine optimization, online marketing, easy content management, and measurable results. LandauDesign.com can boost your web presence so that you can draw more customers to your site and keep their attention, so they stay on your site longer. For more information, call 310-374-0670. That's 310-374-0670, or visit online at LandauDesign.com. Whether your business is in products or services, one thing you need to be successful is sales. And now you can take the mystery out of selling and discover how to consistently produce top sales results with Possibilities Unlimited 8-week Sales to Win course. The Sales to Win course can be attended by anyone from anywhere because it's given by conference call. You'll be taught by top sales and marketing experts all about the sales process, and you'll be given top techniques and tips. It's all simply broken down for you and presented in a stress-free environment. But the best thing is, it's so affordable. It's money well spent because you'll make even more money back with your increased sales. Don't wait. Enroll in the Sales to Win course for yourself and your sales staff right now. You won't want to miss this opportunity to raise your bottom line. Call 310-372-8538. That's 310-372-8538.
Uplifting Talk. HealthyLife.net.
And now for the play of the week. Our play of the week is to do a responsibility map in which you will, on one side, put what are your responsibilities. On the other side of those responsibilities, which can either be outsourced or put on the I'm not going to ever do this in my life list.
The never doing now list.
Never doing now list. And really getting rid of a lot of excess things that you brainstormed, thought were great ideas, left them on the list, and all they're doing is creating guilt because you're not getting to them. And you're never going to. So put them on that never going to do list.
Great. And if you need help putting that list together, remember to call us or visit our website at www.consulting2win.com. That was our play of the week. We want you to have a great work-life balance. Ralph White will be back next week. And now you're ready to win.